Welcome back to another episode of Grafting Dragon Fruit. I'm Richard, and in this video, I'm going to give you all a midsummer season update on all of my dragon fruits and how they've been doing, and show you guys all of the fruits and talk a little bit of each variety so that way you guys can understand a little bit more about them as I go through them. So if you guys are ready, let's go ahead and take a stroll and see what's going on. Okay, let's start with Condor here. And as you guys can see, this trellis system has done very well for the last 6 years. Yes, so these 4 trellises were one of the 4 trellises that I started off with when I first started growing dragon fruit. So it wasn't too well thought out on how I was making them. There's no cement block at the bottom. I used really cheap wood, the Douglas fir wood, and I even used 2x1 woods that were not big and strong enough to support them. And over the time, you guys can see the results on what happens when you did not use high quality wood and not having a strong base at the bottom to hold everything on the top. So over 6 years and the UV rays of the sun, it finally destroyed my trellis. You guys can see here, the top of my canopy, the square part already started falling off. Before I was using nails and not using screws. So you see over time, the nails and the wood shrink, and it just pulls them apart. As you can see, you guys just saw me pull that apart very easily. So now my Condor trellis here literally is being held by only 2 or 3 of those 2x4s on top. And I had to prop them up with 2x4s so that way it can continue to stay up without falling, but it was falling over and over throughout the summer. And I finally stuck a metal broom pole in here, as you can see on the back of it, just to get it to last of the season. So my plan for these 4 trellises at the end of the season is to cut off all these branches, list them on my website, and of course, if you're a member in one of my dragon fruit courses, you guys will get to purchase all of these cuttings first. So if you're not a member and you want to buy cuttings and you want to have access to them first without having to fight people and try to get them through my website, because they do sell out pretty quick once I list them, go ahead and join my course. I'll leave it in the description below. And what this course offers is priority to my cuttings. You guys will be the first to see all of my new updates and basically get to talk to me one-on-one, ask me questions personally, and I'll answer them to you directly. And you have access to me 24/7. So we're gonna be personally chatting in there, and any new varieties that I create, you guys will always get the chance to get them first. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and join. If not, you guys can always try to grab them from my website after my members, of course, get the chance first. Okay, so let's go back into talking about Condor. So Condor has been, as you can see, even though the trellis is starting to fall and a lot of branches have been taken damage from the fall, they still are growing fruits. So this just shows you how resilient dragon fruit are. Once they're mature, they will grow everywhere. Even if they start to fall, they'll figure a way out to just keep spreading themselves and continue to grow. And luckily for that, I was very happy because I did not know if this trellis was gonna make it to the end of the year. So we have some fruits, and what we're gonna do today is harvest those fruits. And then eventually, once all of the fruits is finished for the season, we're gonna start pruning back and then making a whole new permanent setup for Condor here. So as you can see, it has done so well for the last 6 years. So I'm very happy with Condor's results. But this trellis system that I've had back then was not the best, but now I have concrete base at the bottom. We have even side to hold up the top. So it's really improved now. So something like this used to work for me, but now it got to a point where they're just so big and heavy, and the wood, using cheap wood, it eventually rotted at the bottom and broke. So that sucks. Okay, I do have 2 Condor fruits here that look ready, maybe 3. That small one probably is ready too. But these 2 here, as you can see, they're turning nice red. They're getting really plumped. And this one actually has already cracked. Let's take this one off first so I can show you guys that crack. So this is what happens when you don't harvest them, and if they're hiding behind here. And if you looked at them earlier, it was just like this. It looked like a perfect fruit until I put my hand under there, and when I pulled it up, split, but still edible. So what I'm gonna do is take this inside, wash it off the best I can, and once I try this one, because it's split, I know it's fully ripe it's at its sweetest. So this one's actually going to taste really, really sweet and really flavorful once I eat it. It may look ugly, but the flavor of it is really, really amazing. All right, so let's go ahead and cut this one off too. This one was right next to it. And no crack yet, but let me just climb out so I can show you guys. But it's on its way to cracking. This line here, this indentation here, that's where it's gonna crack and split. You can also see here that it's so thin, it's almost transparent. And there's actually a little crack right there. There's already a hole happening. So if I waited maybe a day or two more, it would have cracked into this. And if I kept on watering it, it's just gonna keep filling fruits and burst them, just like this Condor here. So I'm glad we caught this one just in time. This one's a little too late, but this one's gonna make really good dragon fruit to eat later. I'm gonna put it in my harvest basket, and we're just gonna go around, talk a little bit about each trellis and all the fruits that's ready. Let me see. There is another one down here. It's wiggling pretty loose. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut them. And you guys are probably wondering why some of these sizes are so small and why some of my other Condors are a little bigger. And I can talk a little bit about that just in case you're growing Condor. Condor is a self-fertile variety, but it loves to accept pollen from other varieties, and it does a lot better once you cross-pollinate it. You will get fruits from Condor, and this is what it will look like if you use its own pollen. It's self-fertile, you can use its own pollen, but they don't grow the biggest fruits for some reason when you use their own pollen. When you cross-pollinate them and use a different source of pollen, it could be Vietnam white, sugar dragon, pink liver, whatever other variety you have that's not Condor, and if you use that pollen on Condor, they do tend to grow a little bigger, sometimes really big if they really like the pollen. So that's a little tip to you guys with Condor. If you're growing it, cross-pollinate them, you'll get bigger, nicer, juicier fruits. But if you don't have any pollen, you're still gonna get fruits. They're still gonna be very good and flavorful, but they're just gonna be on the smaller size. So keep that in mind. That's a little tip for you guys. And I've noticed that with Condor every season. When I have pollen, I'll pollinate them, I'll cross-pollinate them, and fruits are big. But sometimes they bloom so early, I don't have pollen, and I'll just use what they have. At least I'm still getting some fruits and not getting some abortions. The aborts makes me very sad. Here's Vietnam white, like I said. One of their very first trellises that I built, they're starting to really lean and fall over here. But this one's still staying intact, but I can start to see that the canopy part, the top square part, I use nails. As you see, the wood does shrink over time and it just kind of pulls the nails over. So I think about in a year, this will start to break and fall apart too. So this is the last year for all of these trellis on this side. We're gonna rebuild and renovate them and put them on a better support system, the newer kind, so that way they can grow without having any worries of falling over. But these 2x4s have been helping me. So if you guys have trouble with your dragon fruit staying up and it's been falling for you guys, I recommend getting some 2x4s and just propping them up to keep you guys through the season if it's summer. And then once season is over, you can build trellises again and have them in a better setup. So that's Vietnam white. We have lots of flowers, lots of things blooming. They're self-fertile. They've been pollinating themselves. They're self-fertile and self-pollinating, so I don't have to really do anything, but a lot of new buds are starting to come out. So that's really cool. One of my very first dragon fruits when I was growing, these can get up to a Brix of 19 to 21 when I was growing them. So a very good Vietnam white, in my opinion. Not super flavorful, but sweet, and it just reminds me of my journey when I first started. So I have sentimental value with Vietnam white, so I keep that all the time. And also a very good rootstock for grafting, so I use that a lot. Next, we have Townsen pink. Townsen pink is self-fertile, and it likes to produce lots and lots of fruits, so it can get really out of hand. As you can see, I already have 2 that I pollinated, and yeah, they take their own pollen, but again, they do very well, just like Condor, if you cross-pollinate them. And a lot of fruits, in my opinion, dragon fruits, do well when you cross-pollinate them, and some just do really well when you just use their own pollen, like sugar dragon. Sugar dragon, you can always use its own pollen, and they'll never change in flavor. But yeah, lots of new ones here. We have buds going everywhere. So this is Townsen pink. It's a pink flesh. And it's actually pink and white. It has like almost a two-tone to it where it starts a little bit white in the middle and then it radiates to pink. Very good tasting one. If you like dragon fruits that are on the tardier side, Townsen pink is a really good variety for that. It's tardy but sweet at the same time. So good acid, good balance. some of my friends really love it. Some of my friends think it's too tardy. But you know, that's why we have so many other varieties, just in case if they don't like that one. I got sweet ones too, like this sugar dragon here. So sugar dragon, this one, as you can see, it's been getting so heavy. They grow so big, their branches get so heavy that it just starts to, you know, favor one side wherever the sun's growing and start to reach that side. So you can see here, my trellis is actually bending this way. So I added two 2x4s at the bottom to get it to last through this whole season. And as you can see, there's so many fruits growing on here that is only going to add more weight to the trellis, making it top over. So I'm trying my best here to keep it as upright as possible. Again, one more season. I already created another trellis of sugar dragon, a permanent trellis. So I'm not too worried about, you know, losing its fruits once season's over, because the other sugar dragon trellis is already fruiting too. So I'm happy about that. But this one is a beast. Sugar dragon has been producing me fruits all year long, through the winter, through the fall, through the spring, through the summer. Dragon fruits, sugar dragon is one of those varieties where it actually produces a lot of fruits. You don't have to try too hard to get them to taste good. Genetically, they are always super sweet. That's why they're named sugar dragon. And the flavor on them is very, very complex. When you eat sugar dragon, it's one of those dragon fruits that gets you hooked and starts to explore a little bit more on what other variety of dragon fruits are out there that taste this good. So this is like one of those beginner varieties to kind of kickstart you into becoming a dragon fruit addict. That's how it happened to me. But as you guys can see, there are so many fruits ready to be harvested. I have some that's probably going to be ready in the next couple of weeks to a week. And I even have new buds. So this is about the third wave already of sugar dragon. I usually get about 6 to 7 waves during a season on sugar dragon. And I'm actually harvesting the first wave here with you guys today. So let's go ahead and take them off. I like harvesting sugar dragon when they're slightly green like this. It's because sugar dragon is already so sweet that when there's a little bit green on them, they actually have a little bit of acid, which makes it really nice because now you have a contrast of the acid and the sweetness together, and it makes the flavor even more complex and more delicious. So that's what I've been doing, you guys. I've been harvesting sugar dragon a little bit on the green side, but if you want just straight sugar bombs, you can harvest them very bright red. So this is ideal for me. And I also like it a little early because the texture of it. Once you wait a little too long on sugar dragon, the flesh doesn't become doesn't lose its firmness, and it's a little bit more on like the ripe raspberry texture. If you want more of like a crunch to them, harvest them a little green, and the texture of them is going to be nice and crunchy, and that flavor is still going to be really nice. Okay, let's go ahead and take all the other ones off that are ready. I just love the way they look. They look like little grenades. Perfect size for kids, perfect size for people that are just trying dragon fruit and don't have to commit on eating a whole one. So really love the size of these because my kids can literally eat a whole one, and it's pretty fun to watch them enjoy dragon fruit because I love them. Okay, so that side's all harvested. Let's check this side. Another sugar dragon. And let me just sneak to the back. Nothing is there, but there's a lot of fruit all on this side. So I just want to show you guys that we have way more sugar dragons come in that are going to be ripe. So my second wave of fruits is actually going to be my more bountiful harvest. It looks like I have about over 15 fruits that's going to be ready to harvest all at once. So that's going to be really cool. I can't wait until all those turn red and then I get to finally harvest them. Over here, this wall here, these are just my seedlings that I kind of neglected, and they're starting to grow really rapidly because it's summertime now, and even some of them flowered. This ladder is here is mainly because I need some support, and I didn't want to build a whole trellis for them because I wanted to taste their fruit first, and if it's good, then they get to go in a permanent trellis. But I'm also working on a seedling trellis where I build a smaller cypress trellis to help them to get to flower for the first time. And if they're good, then I would take some branches from that, put them in a permanent trellis, and then dump out my smaller trellis and start all over with new seedlings. So that's something I'm working on, and you guys will see a video on that soon. But just to show you guys, this is about a 2 to 3 gallon pot. I think it's 2 gallon, it looks about 2 gallon. And I've been having this seedling here for about 1 year to 2 years, but it was able to produce me a fruit. So this seedling graft here is Asuna 5 crossed with red laverne, and this is its very first time fruiting. And as you guys can see, you guys don't need a really big setup to actually get them to fruit for the first time. You can use a 2-gallon pot, and as long as you have some support for it to keep it standing up and continue it to grow and get these mature branches, they will produce you guys a flower bud just like this one here. So I've never tried this variety before. This is the first time it ever flowered for me. It's a whole new variety cross with Asuna 5 crossed with red laverne. So I'm super excited to see what this is going to produce. I really love Asuna 5, and I really love red laverne. So those two are going to make a great combination, and I can't wait to see what comes out of it. So we have a singular flower there. It looks like it might be a colored flower based on of the bud here, but we will see. So I want to see a beautiful flower and hopefully a really delicious fruit from this variety once it blooms. So very stoked on that one. We'll update you guys on that. This here is my Vigo garden trellis, and I planted Jurassic guava in here. It's been doing very well. I've been growing these cuttings into this Vigo garden trellis for the last 6 months. It finally reached to the top of the canopy, and I cut the tips of them, and now waiting for the canopy to grow out and develop that umbrella canopy. So I just did a video on this about the updates and what I did and the pros and cons in growing it in this type of trellis. So you guys want to know a little bit more about that and see the pros and cons of growing this trellis, go ahead and check out that video. It should be in my channel ready soon so for you guys to watch. So if you guys want more details and a little bit more in depth about how it's been growing, what I did to this trellis to make it grow better, and the integrity of this trellis, go ahead and check that video out. So give you guys a little quick introduction of that on the next video. Here I have grafts, more grafts of mine. So this is actually a Desert King crossed with Pitaya. And this is why I told you guys I'm gonna build those mini trellises for my seeding grafts like such as these. I don't wanna commit to a whole permanent trellis just in case they don't taste good, but those small trellises is gonna help me to get them flower for the very first time so I can try its fruit. And I noticed there's a growth right here, and I don't want that. I want all of the energy to go to my grafts. So what I'm just gonna do real quick is pop that right off. And that's what you're gonna wanna do, guys. Any new growth that is not growing from the graft, go ahead and take it off. If it's growing from the rootstock, pluck it right off, pluck it right off. You want all the energy to focus on your grafts only so you guys can get fruits sooner than later. Okay, next here is, so this is my trellis. I call this the Asuna 6 trellis. It's because when I was grafting all of those seedlings, I grafted about 6 different Asuna 6 seedlings on here, and they've all fruited. They've all proved that they were good fruits, and now I have their own trellis. And this trellis is basically what you guys have been seeing and hearing. The Nectar Sunrise, Pixie Sky, Berry Breath, and Bubblegum is all in this trellis here. And we have Berry Breath bud right here, and the 2 fruits that you guys are seeing that are ripening is the Nectar Sunrise. So because it sits under this avocado tree here, they don't ever produce multiple waves of fruits, and they produce very small amounts of fruits. I'll get about 2 to 3 fruits on this trellis, and only 1, maybe if I'm lucky, 2 waves of it. And it's because it's under this avocado tree. I'm starting to realize a very small change in its environment can actually have it fruit less. So if I walk maybe 40 feet that way, my dragon fruits over there that get full sun are producing so much fruits and producing multiple waves of fruit. And just because I stuck this one in the corner underneath this avocado tree, it isn't as productive as the other ones that has full sun. So if you're growing dragon fruit and you have weather that's just tolerable, like this season has been great weather. It hasn't gotten too hot where I had to bring out the umbrellas, the canopies, and tents to cover it from the sun. But once it reaches over 90 degrees for a long period of time, that's when I start to cover them, and so that way they don't get sunburn or sun blisters. But this season has been starting out really great. We've been getting good amount of heat, nothing too hot, but perfect amount where they're happy, where they want to produce a lot of fruits. The branches are staying lush green, and overall just making them look very happy with this weather that we're having. So I'm not looking forward to the heat, so make sure you guys are adjusting the shade and all that if you're growing in more extreme temperatures. But they like to thrive in 75 to 85 degrees and will be super happy in those temperatures at all times. So that's that. This trellis here is also another mixed trellis of mine. We have Vietnam Red, and these are Vietnam Reds here, and we have Cotton Candy. These are Cotton Candies here, and Cotton Candy is one of those varieties that's crossed with Connie Meyer, and it's very sweet, just like its name, Cotton Candy. It's just like candy. We have a Connie Meyer here as well. Connie is the mother to cotton candy, and that's how cotton candy was created. But I only have one fruit here. Again, it's next to this avocado tree and citrus tree. So again, I get about maybe 1 or 2 waves too. And as we go deeper into my full sun area, you guys are gonna see way more fruits, way more production. So I wanna show you guys that. There is a fruit here that is starting to concern me here. This is Vietnam red. Because I'm thinking it's not getting full sun penetration, so it's not getting its full color. But as you can see, it's growing so big, so thick that it even burst already. So I would maybe leave this on for another day or two just to get a little bit more color. But I don't want it to burst too much. So maybe 1 or 2 more days only, just so then I can get its full potential, and then I'll take it off. But for now, something like this, I'll leave. If you guys know you don't have like squirrels or critters that come and eat your fruit, you can leave it on. But if you know you do, you can always put a fruit bag on so that way they don't get to it. Because I know birds, if they see this, they'll come right at it. So protect your fruits if you're trying to get it to ripen a little bit more. Sometimes people even tie bags around it to hide it. But for me, I have none of those problems. I have dogs and cats here that always patrol this area. So nothing really comes and bothers my fruit, thankfully. So we'll leave this on for another day or two, and then I'll harvest them. This one is Vietnam red as well. It has the shake, but the cone here is still a little green and it hasn't really stretched out yet. So I'm looking for something like this, where it's stretched out and the green is kind of almost gone and it just gets really plump. So I'm waiting for that to get a little more plump before I harvest. So Vietnam red is not about ready yet. This small fruit here, you know what, I'll harvest one. It'll be a good base to let me know how all of the other ones are. So we'll see how this one tastes, and it'll give me a good idea if that one's gonna be ready or if I need to wait a couple more days. So that's Vietnam red, cotton candy, Connie Meyer, all really good fruits. Next trellis here is I have Townsen G2 and I have Natural Mystic. And this one here that looks like Natural Mystic is actually Costa Rica rensis or something like that. I got this from Ocean View Dragon Fruits. And I've been growing it, not my most favorite variety because it has a texture like beets and the flavor isn't as complex as I would like it. I can see that some people may like this variety, but to me, I personally don't like it. So I'm gonna remove the Costa Ricensis this season. Natural Mystic I like because it's self-fertile. It's a really nice red flesh and it actually tastes good. So anything that's self-fertile nowadays to me is I really prefer those ones because now that I have kids, I'm a lot more busy. It's hard to pollinate all of these, but I still somehow sneak out at the middle of the night or even wake up at 1 in the morning realizing I had to pollinate dragon fruit, and you see me running out here with my headlight and pollinating all these dragon fruits. So yep, Townsen G2, Natural Mystic, doing very well. Lots of fruits. All right, guys, next trellis here is we have Pink Panther. Pink Panther is related to Sugar Dragon. They're sisters, but the only difference is Pink Panther has pink flesh and it is also very sweet. Look at this branch here that has 4 fruits. For Sugar Dragon and Pink Panther, I don't ever thin them out because their genetics are just so good on keeping their flavor consistent and very complex and sweet. So if you have Sugar Dragon or Pink Panther, you don't need to thin them, you guys. Just keep all of your buds and let them flower and pollinate them so they can become fruits. And if you do that, I promise you, you guys won't compromise flavor, sweetness, or anything like that. Even size doesn't get compromised. They're still growing to the size that I usually see Sugar Dragon and Pink Panther at. So this is proof for you guys here. There's all of these fruits, all consistent size, all right next to each other, so no one's really fighting for competition here. So definitely, if you guys have multiple buds on Sugar Dragon or Pink Panther, just keep them. Check that out. Nice and plumped, ready to go. One thing is, Pink Panther has thorns at the base of the fruit, and I just got poked by that. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's right there, right here. This just poked me, and that hurt. So make sure when you're harvesting them, watch for the base. Don't get poked by them. It's gonna sting. So I'm gonna go ahead and just harvest the rest of these Pink Panthers, and we'll talk about all of these other varieties that's in this trellis as well. Here. And I just got poked by that thorn I told you about. Just got Pink Panthers. This one here is pretty green, but I'm gonna take it off because I know this one's actually gonna be really good with the acid here. So you can see it's more on the green side, but they're nice and plumped. Texture is gonna feel really nice and crunchy. So we'll take that. So pink panther is also another variety that I harvest while it's green, and it's okay to do that, and they're still gonna be super sweet. You guys are not gonna regret that choice if you guys harvest them when they're a little green. So we have more pink panthers ripening. We have our second wave, third wave already happening as well, because this is second wave here. We just harvest first wave, and we have melonberry. So melonberry is also another Asuna 6 sister, and this one has been probably one of the most difficult Asuna 6 that I've been growing. So if you like a challenge and you want to challenge yourself on getting fruits from melonberry, this is a variety for you. It does not like the cold at all. Once it reaches winter season, they get sick very easily. The flesh does not like it, so it starts to rot. So if you live somewhere that gets extremely cold, melonberry is going to be one of those varieties that's going to be really hard for you to grow. In California, it doesn't get too bad, but during the winter time, it does get to temperatures that are concerning for dragon fruits, where they can potentially freeze and defrost and become mush. Luckily for last season, it was just more of the rain. We had a lot of rain, and they did not like all of that cold and water. So I have a lot of damage happen to it. So even the main stalk here are starting to rot and callus over, but the cambium still stays good. I left a few branches so that way I can start a new trellis of it. But I've noticed if you don't give it too much sun and it doesn't get too cold, they stay very happy and they will thrive. So I lost a lot of branches during the cold and the rain, but they're starting to recover, and I was surprised because I thought I wasn't gonna get any buds or fruits this year, but I'm starting to see that they're starting to produce buds and fruits again. So here's a bud, and here's another bud from melonberry. So we got 2 buds. Very happy about that. Can't wait until melonberry produces flowers again this season. And why I say it's a little bit more challenging for melonberry is because they aren't the type of dragon fruit that will just take any type of pollen. Like when you cross-pollinate it, most of the times if you're using a different variety, they will set fruit. With melonberry, I've noticed that it only worked when I used pink laverne. So if you're one of those that got melonberry variety from me, make sure you also have pink laverne, because pink laverne has been the only pollen that has worked for me with melonberry. You're gonna try American Beauty, Sugar Dragon, Pink Panther, Condor, Vietnam White, all of those ones that are universal pollinators that should work did not work on melonberry. So a big tip to you guys, if you're growing this and you want to make sure that you get a successful pollination, have pink laverne pollen available. Grow that variety just because you're going to need it to make sure that this actually turns into a set fruit. So that's the big tip for you guys if you grow melonberry. Other varieties I have in here is AX, and Hannah. Hannah is one of those varieties that has a very distinct flavor. You either like it or you don't, but the flower of it is very beautiful. It has a pink base flower that radiates white. So a lot of people grow it for their flower, and a lot of people also like it for the flavor. But I get a 50-50 with that when I show people or let them try Hannah. They're like, the flavor tastes too intense for me, or they can't really put their tongue on what the flavor is, so they don't like it. How I explain it is it's a combination of durian and lychee flavor, in my opinion. And in Asian culture, we love durian, so a lot of people like it. People that don't like durian will just hate it. So keep that in mind if you're growing Hannah. And Axe has been growing, but I've been trimming it back because every time I try Axe fruit, AX, it tastes like onions to me. So I have been really turned off by Axe. A lot of people told me it could be the way you fertilize it, and that's why they can get that flavor. But for me, no matter how I grow it, I always had that onion flavor when I grew Axe. So Axe is one of those flavor varieties that I'm gonna probably remove this season and just completely take it out of my collection. So I'll have some available Axes if you want to grow them. If that's something you're into, then I'll have limited cuttings of Axe. But other than that, we're removing it from GDF headquarters and just not growing that one at all. Next one here, we have Thai Gold, White Sapphire, and Sour Patch Kids back there. Sour Patch Kids has been competing with root space from the Thai Gold and White Sapphire. So for some reason, the Thai Gold and White Sapphire always flowers before the Sour Patch Kids in this trellis. But if you go a little bit down there, I'm gonna show you guys my other Sour Patch Kids trellis. is flowering and budding like crazy. But we also too have lots of buds for white sapphire. And we go back here, we have Thai gold buds. They're really nice green, big buds, look really beautiful. And the flower is huge once Thai gold blooms. So I've been pollinating those. And one thing I've been noticing is I used to think Thai gold was self-fertile. That's what Vietnam told me when I got the cuttings from them. I went to their farm and I asked them if they self-pollinate the Thai gold with its own pollen. They said yes, and it should work. But I've noticed when I tried that last season, the flowers aborted. So I gotta make sure again this season, I'm gonna pollinate them again with its own pollen. And if it does not accept its own pollen, then we know Thai gold is not self-fertile. So we're gonna do some testing with Thai gold this season, so that way you guys can have accurate information. And sometimes you can't just believe it when you get it from other people. You have to put the test to yourself. So even though I got it from a big name farm in Vietnam, when I took it home, it didn't prove that. So it's good to always test yourself and make sure that what you're getting is what you're getting. And if it's self-fertile, to confirm it yourself, because you never know unless you try it. So there's Thai gold, all of the updates on them and what you're gonna need to expect. Here I have Cosmic Charlie, Frankie's Red, and Voodoo Child. Voodoo Child is the sister of Sugar Dragon and Pink Panther, so that's why you can see they look very similar to each other. If you didn't know about them and you just saw these fruits for the first time, you would think they're all the same fruits, but they're different. And what I've noticed is Sugar Dragon and Pink Panther are the superior sisters to Voodoo Child. It's just something about those two varieties. They got a little bit more sweetness and complexity in flavor versus the Voodoo Child. So if you're growing those three and you just wanted to reduce some of those varieties, you can remove Voodoo Child. So after Voodoo Child is finished growing and fruiting for this season, I'm gonna take out Voodoo Child because Sugar Dragon and Pink Panther are way better and they already are so prolific with fruiting. So I don't think I'll need Voodoo Child. I'll probably use them as rootstocks because they're very good rootstocks. I have Frankie's Red. And if you know Frankie's Red, it's one of those varieties that's also very hard to grow. I get about 2 to 4 fruits every year, and that's what makes them extremely rare, because in California, they don't grow too well. They love that tropical humidity like Hawaii. They grow very good in Hawaii. Really cool thing about them is they're self-fertile, so you can use its own pollen. And I just wish they didn't get sick so easily. Once it gets cold, they get these cactus rusts, and you can see here a lot of it has scarred over already. They do get sick, but they also do recover in due time. So once summer hits, they will just all callus all of the cactus rust, start to grow and produce fruits again. As you can see, some of my branches here are very damaged by the cactus rust once it got it, but they're able to heal. So that was one thing that I really liked about Frankie's Red, is even though they're a little finicky and they are a little sensitive to the temperature, but when it's time for them to shine and recover and heal, they have the capability to do all of that. So really, really resilient. Frankie's Red, really resilient, but also very sensitive. I don't know how those two combine it with each other to be that way, but that's what Frankie's Red is. It's a good one to have because it's just one of those varieties that tastes very good. They are one of the few dragon fruits that are bright orange in color. Their skin is bright orange, and the flesh of it is like very hot pink. It tastes very good, very good. Again, self-fertile. And then you only get about 2 to 4 fruits if you're in California. Maybe you can get more if you grafted more. I only have one main stem in here, so if I probably have 4 cuttings of it, I'll probably get double that. So maybe 4 times 4, 16 fruits every season. But every time I give this to anybody to try, they love it and they want to try to grow it, and I tell them how hard it is, and then they're like, never mind, I'll just eat it when you have it. So yeah, we have Cosmic Charlie. Cosmic Charlie is back here. Nice big fruits. Everything has been flowering. I would say 100% of the varieties that I'm growing are all flowering, fruiting now. So I don't think any other trellises needs to flower. Maybe one, actually. Bubblegum, I'm still waiting for bubblegum to flower. But we have Purple Haze here. We have the variegated here. I think they call this Lime Worth. And we also have Desert Kings behind here that I've been pollinating. We have some fruits that are ready. And once they're ready, I always like to remove this flower here because once it gets ripe, you can crack the fruit. We have plenty of new flowers coming that I'm gonna need to pollinate soon. Desert King is such a great tasting variety and I love it. It just tastes amazing. It's like eating candy when you're trying that variety. And here's a Purple Haze flower that I pollinated with White Sapphire last night. White Sapphire and Purple Haze bloom, and I just cross-pollinated those two. and they will accept the pollen and grow. Then hopefully we get more purple haze dragon fruits. Here's some more purple haze fruits that's on the way to ripening. So as you guys can see, every trellis of mine has lots of fruits. I've been pretty active. I wish I could have done a beginning spring season update for you guys to see all of the new flowers that are going and me pollinating them. But again, life is getting a little bit busy for me. So now I just try my best to do everything in a condensed way and try to have you guys still be a part of everything we're doing here at Grafting Dragon Fruit headquarters. This trellis here is also another mixed trellis of mine. I grew wild berry skittles and Asuna 6 in here. When I first started this trellis, I was just trying to see if the fruit is good enough to even put into this permanent trellis. And over time and time again, wild berry skittles has been proving to me that it is a very exceptional fruit, and more surprises keeps coming as I keep growing wild berry skittles. Wild berry skittles is actually a variegated variety, a true variegated variety, and one of the first variegated varieties that actually tastes good. All of the other variegated are white flesh varieties, and they taste just like Vietnam white. So nothing, ornamentally, they look very cool to have in your garden, but once you try the fruit, it's kind of almost a waste of space growing them. So if you're trying to grow a variegated dragon fruit that actually tastes amazing, wild berry skittles is the variety for you. And I love how when the fruits grow, they have rainbow colors and all of that stuff. So you can see these are wild berry skittle fruits, and the fins like this, they stay like this. They just kind of have a radiation of variegation, and as the fruit grows, it will continue to variegate. Sometimes they'll turn all red, and sometimes they'll just be variegated orange, red, green, yellow. They have all of those colors. I harvested a fruit about maybe a week ago, and I wish I would have saved that fruit so I can show you guys the variegation of it. That fruit looks so cool. It had maybe the whole rainbow color, just like, you know, rainbow Skittles taste the rainbow. That fruit had that legit color on it, so it was really cool. Another cool hybrid that I'm working on is, if you guys know about cherry gushers is Asuna 7, and wild berry skittle is Asuna 6. So I crossed this wild berry skittles with cherry gushers this season. So we have a new hybrid coming soon that I'm very excited about, because cherry gushers is a very, very exceptional variety. When I bricks that variety, cherry gushers, which is Asuna 7, for the very first time, the bricks came out at 24%. One of the highest brick percentage I've ever seen on any dragon fruit that I've grown personally here at my house. So to see it at 24%, I was like, this is going to be a great mother to introduce sweetness to all of those other ones that have no sugar or I want to improve the taste on. Wild berry skittles already taste so amazing. So I wanted to combine these two to see what we're gonna get. So I did vice versa crosses with them. So I did wild berry skittles crossed with cherry gushers, and I did cherry gushers crossed with wild berry skittles. So those two are gonna be some really interesting seeds once I get them. So I'm excited for the season to kind of end, so that way these fruits are ready, and then I can start on a new variety next season. So I've done Asuna 4 crossed with Asuna 5. This is the first time I've crossed Asuna 6 with Asuna 7. So wild berry skittles, Asuna 6, cherry gushers, Asuna 7, mixing these two Asunas together and hopefully get something even more mind-blowing than what they are already. So I'm very excited about those new hybrids. So a little something to give you guys to be excited about too. All right, this Asuna trellis here has Sunset Sherbet, Asuna 5 Paco, Asuna 3, and I think those are the only, and Asuna 4. I actually removed Asuna 4 and cut it down to its, like, basically a nub down here. But Asuna 4 did not want to give up, still wanted to produce fruits for the very last time. And it actually grew a branch that I didn't know about because it was hiding under all the other ones. So this is Asuna 4 bud and Asuna 5 bud. And we have a Sunset Sherbet bud here, all different Asunas. This Sunset Sherbet branch here is actually growing 3 Sunset Sherbet buds. So pretty cool. And as you can look over here, we have so many Asuna 5 Paco fruits that I've been pollinating and getting successful pollinations from. And now it's time to remove the flowers so you can see nothing but only the fruit. And I've noticed, I don't know if you guys saw a video of me harvesting Asuna 5 Paco when it was still slightly green. They actually taste better that way. The fruit was more flavorful and acid, and it didn't have that beet or compass flavor to it. So you want more of like a fruity berry flavor to it. Harvest them when they're a little green. you're gonna get a lot better flavor profile in my opinion. And if you don't like it, you can always let it ripe to its full burgundy color. If you enjoy it that way, feel free. That's why it's so fun to grow dragon fruits on your own, because you can eat it and harvest it anytime you want. You don't have to listen to anybody else. Whatever you enjoy, just keep doing what you're doing. So we have more Asuna 5 Paco buds here that are gonna bloom in the next probably week or a few days. They look very close to blooming. So very prolific variety, but because they have branches that are like the Hulk's arms, it grows very heavy. So you have to make sure you have a really good trellis system for it. You can see it started snapping my top, and the bottom I actually had to support with 2x4s to keep it from bending this way. It did fall once already, so that's why I add these here. This trellis is actually one of my trellis that has the cement block at the bottom, but it doesn't have the side arms to support its size, so that's why it crashed down like that. And I wasn't, because it's a mixed pot of different Asuntas, the weight distribution was just different. It's not all the same size branches and same weight. So one side that has the branches that are heavier was favoring, and it grew, kept growing, and eventually it tipped over that size. So in my opinion, when I was growing them, I had 4 different varieties, so then that way I can utilize as much space as I can and have more different varieties per pot. But when that happened, it got confusing because the varieties would intermix with each other and overlap with each other. So I had to follow the main branch most of the time to find out what it was. But luckily for me, I'm so involved with my garden, I always knew what type of variety it was by just looking at the branch and buds. But in my honest opinion, the best way to grow them is to have all of the same variety in the one pot. This is just gonna keep your trellis more balanced because everything is growing the same. Weight distribution is gonna be the same. As you see, Asuna 5 Paco here is the heavier one. And Asuna 3, they like to grow thinner branches that are like almost paper thin. So the weight is never gonna distribute on that side. Asuna 5 is always gonna have all of the weight favoring because they grow big, heavy branches. So that's another reason why growing all 4 of the same variety is so important and better in my opinion, is because you're gonna get better weight distribution. You're not gonna get mixed up if you're trying to share cuttings with your friends. And also root competition. Some varieties just has better root systems, so they can overtake the soil, and then the other ones will just be slower grower because they didn't get to develop the root because the other ones have taken over. So those main 3 reasons are right there should give you more confidence to just grow all 4 same varieties in one pot. But if you are limited in space and want to try the variety for the very first time, do the four different varieties per pot. But once you get to try them and you know what you like, create those permanent trellises with 1 variety per pot. And that's going to save you a lot of headaches in the future, and you don't have to go back and redo it. So I'm just trying to save you guys some time and from what I experienced. So the next one we're going to go to is this one right here. So these are all of the Asuna 6 varieties that I told you guys that I removed from the avocado tree, under the avocado tree, and created its own personal trellis. And ever since I did that, I didn't even have to wait for it to fully mature. And you can see it's already producing me some flower buds. And this is why I say having it in full sun can be extremely important if you're trying to get it to flower sooner or later. If you have very shady areas in your garden and your dragon fruit hasn't produced its first flower bud yet, in the first 1.5 or 2 years, then you might just need to move it to an area that has more sun, give it some flower fertilizer so that way it can stimulate its flower production. And those 2 tips right there should take you to get you to your very first bud. And that's exactly what I did. I noticed that that area over there wasn't doing too well. I took all of the cuttings for each, made its own trellis, put it in its own pot, brought it out to where I have no sun being blocked by any trees or any shade. And they're doing so well now, producing more growth and even flower buds. So that makes me very happy. So this is Nectar Sunrise. It's about 1.5 years now, ever since I put into this trellis, but there's buds on them already. So that's something really cool that I figured out just growing them in my garden is full sun. They love full sun. If you can give them 8+ hours of sun during the day, they will reward you back with growth and lots of fruits. And this is Thai gold here. As you can see, lots of growth. And in the beginning of the season, I had a lot of lower growth, and I left it down there to see if I leave lower growth down there, would they still flower? I did this little experiment to see what were the best 5 reasons of why your dragon fruit is not flowering. So I have a video on that. You guys can go back and watch that. So I won't talk too much about it so that way you can see it. But after I cut those lower growth down there, I was able to finally get buds on my Thai goat as well. And I'm starting to see it form over there, but some visible ones are right here. Here's a bud, here's another Thai goat bud, and another Thai goat bud. And if you see that little yellow nub right there, that's also another bud that's growing. So yes, cleaning up all of the lower growth does indeed help you produce fruits quicker because it's not spending all of its energy at the bottom trying to grow those branches, maturing them to make them produce fruits. Instead, it's focusing on all of its energy on the top, making sure all of the branches that are already mature, ready to produce fruits, they just send a signal, and once the signal gets hit on them, they know to start producing flower buds. So that's also something really cool that I learned. And I also did another experiment with berry breath. Another experiment I tried was, if I were to leave lower growth, how many can I leave and still get them to flower? So I tried one on this trellis, one lower growth per main stem to see if they would produce a bud. And to my surprise, berry breath here, also only a year and a half. You guys can see, I don't even have a full canopy yet. All of these are just new growth for the year. And I didn't think that they would produce me fruit, but I started tipping some, and you can see that I tipped this because it has callus over here and it stopped growing. It made the branch mature, and then when it was flowering season, which is summertime, it produced a bud. So I was able to get some buds on the lower growth and even the top growth getting some too. And what I did to help it do this was, again, full sun. I gave it some flowering stimulant fertilizer, which is Dr. Earth's Flower Girl. I like to use that granular. You just throw in a cup every month and then it should give you some results. But yes, you can also get bud on lower growth, but just don't have too many. And then we're gonna walk through some more of my trellises and I can show you guys where I've tried other other ways of leaving more lower growth, like two per stem, 3 per stem, and see if they were fruit. And let me show you guys. Here is American Beauty. And American Beauty this season has been very productive. I'm getting lots of fruits everywhere on the top. I did get a flower bud at the bottom of this branch. So here you can see me leaving two sub branches at the lower bottom. And I wanted to see if I would get any buds. I was able to get a bud, but that bud did not make it. It aborted eventually. So it just made me realize maybe there are so many buds on the top already, it didn't want to waste its energy on the bottom. It's because it wanted to continue sending nutrients to the top and, you know, keeping everything on the top happy, so it aborted that. So that proved to me that it can get buds at the bottom if you leave 2 to 3 branches, but will it stay? So that, I thought that the answer was no. But if you guys keep walking down here, I'm going to show you guys some trellises that actually proved me wrong. This is Sour Patch Watermelon. Sour Patch Watermelon, very good tasting variety, super sweet, has the nice sweet and tart to it. So when you're chewing on it, the flavor tastes really good. But it is also self-fertile, self-pollinating. So that's one reason why I really like it, and lots of fruits here. But what I wanted to show you guys is check out these branches here. So I have this main stalk here, has 1, 2, 3 sub branches that are on the bottom. And to my surprise, if they get enough sun, enough water and fertilizer, they will produce buds. So I have a bud here, has not aborted yet. I was thinking that it was gonna abort because it did with my American Beauty, but this one is continuing to keep on growing and it looks like it's gonna flower in the next week and a half to 2 weeks. So I wanna give you guys an update. If that's possible, then that's cool, right? Then you can have like you can hit 2 birds with 1 stone with this kind of method. Is you can grow lower growth to have extra branches to sell or share with your friends and family. Or if you just want to try the fruit and share this whole cutting with somebody so they can get a cutting to grow their own, or have a fruit to try, and if they like it, they can just replant this whole cutting. So yeah, extra cuttings for you, extra fruits. So if it's possible, why not give it a go? So I gave that a try this season and it actually worked. You just do not want to have too many. I would say 3 at most. I don't think 4 or 5 would do you any good, because now it's just trying to manage all those branches on the bottom. So if you want it to flower, give it about only 3 lower branches on the bottom. And later after you harvest fruit, you can use this as cutting. So we're still gonna remove this. We're just letting it go for this season. Some experiment I've been doing and I just wanted to share that with you guys. So that's pretty cool. We're just gonna keep going down. This is pink panther. So you guys saw my pink panther over there. It was, it's already 3-4 years old, so it's already producing lots of fruits. This one is also only 1.5 years, and look at how many fruits I have on this pink panther. I went ahead and I love this variety so much, so I did 4 cuttings per pot in a 25-gallon pot. And to my surprise, this season I got lots of fruits from it, still more flowers. And I also left lower growth branches on here in hoping to get fruit. And in my surprise, it's starting to happen. So I think a combination of things that not only one trellis proved to me, but multiple trellis proved to me. So that must mean something's happening here, right guys? So my thinking is they have full sun. So having these lower branches and having full sun, having nutrients and having good pruning is gonna create them to have more fruit even on the lower branches. So give that a try, guys. If that works for you, great. If not, it's worth a try. It's been working for me, so I want to share that information with you guys. Okay, we're gonna go from here down because we kind of skipped this right here. This is just another sugar dragon trellis that I created because I told you guys my other one was starting to break apart. That was my very first trellis design. But this one here is more improved, and it has all, the other pot I put 6 cuttings in. This one I'm only doing 4 cuttings, so that way it's gonna keep them nice and happy. Sugar dragon is always gonna be my favorite varieties. I will always have this as a dragon fruit grower. They taste very good and they produce fruits very early. See, I don't even have a full canopy on this, but I'm already getting fruits on all of the branches. So very excited that things are happening very fast this season. It has to do with the weather. The weather's been very nice, not too hot, not scorching everything, not burning everything where they have to heal. You guys will not believe this, but this Asuna 3 trellis is the same age as all of those other trellises that I just showed you guys. It's about 1.5 years still, but this one just grows like weed. It is producing so many branches, and it looks like it's about 2 to 3 years old already, but it's only 1.5 years. Asuna 3, oh, this is Asuna 3 Oceanside from Ocean View Farm. And just check it out, you guys. It looks crazy, right? Lots of branches, tip them. And ever since I tipped them, I started getting lots of fruits and buds. And when I say tip, it's just me cutting the tip off of the branch here. And that's gonna stimulate to put out new growth. And if it's during the summer season, they put out flowers instead of new branches. So that's a really good tip if you guys wanted to start stimulating some flower growth. Okay, so this trellis here is a special trellis of mine. This is cherry gushers, sour applehead, and Jurassic guava. These are the 3 newest ones that I've been talking about a lot. Sour applehead, very interesting terp. That one has apple flavor, super sweet, super good. Cherry gushers I just talked about. It's one of those varieties that I've seen with the highest bricks, 24%. So very, very interesting one. And this one is the one that I cross-pollinated with wild berry skittles, and it actually took the pollen. So we're gonna have a really cool hybrid with this one. And if we go to the back, there is some Jurassic guava fruits that are already ripening. And this bud here looks like it's gonna abort, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take it off. But here they are. These are Jurassic guava fruits, and they're on their way to ripening. And we have more cherry gusher buds, and we have a Jurassic guava flower that's gonna open tonight. So I'm gonna have to pollinate this with something, maybe create a new hybrid if I have some cool pollen. But other than that, I just wanted to set fruit. That's my main goal here. So cherry gushers and Jurassic guava. Jurassic guava is gonna be blooming tonight. All right. Over here, I have pink laverne. Pink laverne I just talked about. I told you guys if you guys are growing melonberry, then you're gonna need pink laverne, so that way you can pollinate it and have it set fruit. And here's a pink laverne flower that's actually gonna open tonight. So that's cool. I'm gonna freeze this pollen, so that way I have pollen ready for melonberry once it starts to bloom. I do have other pink laverne buds, so maybe that will bloom at the same time so I can use fresh pollen, but to be safe and sure, I'm going to save this pink laverne pollen in the freezer, so when I do need it, I can pull it out and it's ready to go. So these here are DK16. DK16 is a desert king from Australia, and I think it's the 16th seedling. Very, very, very exceptional fruits. I want to create more hybrids with this one. So my focus is creating more DK16 hybrids with some of the Asuntas or some other ones. Just trying to create different varieties with the Desert King because they are just such a great variety. And I think their genetics will go far in flavor. So we need to start introducing more Desert King hybrids to the dragon fruit community. I think that would be very helpful. Back here, I have Sour Patch Kids. So Sour Patch Kids is one of those that I'm going to show you guys that prove to me that you can have a successful fruit with a bottom branch. So here is, let's see how many this one has. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sub branches at the bottom. And I told you guys 3 is a good number. 5 can be a little finicky, but this one, I think it's just had great sun. And I tipped all of these branches very early. So I was able to get it to fruit on this lower branch here. And I can see as this fruit keeps getting bigger and bigger, it's just gonna keep getting heavier and heavier and eventually bend and might even snap this branch. So I might have to tie garden tape here just to support it and suspend it on top so it doesn't snap this branch, so this can actually finish ripening. But yes, it is totally possible for you guys to get fruit on the lower branches. Sometimes they abort, sometimes if they're happy enough, they will keep the fruit, and then you guys will get to reap a fruit from the lower branch. And then you're gonna, even like I said, you guys have another branch to share a cutting with. This looks like it's ready, so I'm gonna go ahead and just cut this Sour Patch Kids off. These are the ones that I kind of pollinated in the beginning of the season. So small Sour Patch Kids, but they get really big, really nice size. You can see all the big ones on the back. They're still growing. This one is, see, green still, but it's just the same size as this one, so you know that one's gonna grow bigger and bigger. All right. Basket's starting to look really cool. Lots of fruits, lots. I can't wait to take this inside and, get them to cool down so I can eat them later. So I have 2 trellis of Ecuador palora. They have been producing me fruits for the last 4 or 5 years. I want to say 6 years now. But I'm ready to remove one of these trellises. I used to have 3 trellises of Ecuador palora, but I am starting to, getting so much varieties that I'm creating myself that I want to create more room for my own varieties. So any duplicate pots that I have of mine, I'm going to go ahead and start removing. So these 2 pots here are going to get removed. This one will get removed, and I'll probably keep this one. And again, these trellises are one of those trellises that I've created during my early stages, so they're not as sturdy. And you can see there's 2x4s holding them up. So I'm eventually gonna take some of these cuttings from the Ecuador palora, graft them onto a new rootstock, and then plant them in a new trellis all over again. And if you guys watch my how to grow Ecuador palora the best you can and get them to fruit as early as they can, then they do their best when grafted. So if you have Ecuador palora and you haven't gotten fruit from them yet, they grow very slow with their own rootstock. So if you want to speed that up, graft them and you guys will start getting fruits just like me. I have some fruits already on both trellises, so that's pretty cool. Just one, more buds are coming, so we're waiting for that. Okay, we're almost at the end, you guys. If you guys made it this far, thank you for watching and following along, and I hope you guys are learning a lot through me just talking and giving you guys more info about these varieties. And of course, if you guys have any questions about them, just leave in the comments below and we'll get back to you guys as soon as we can. But here is Wild Berry Skittles. This one is not under the tree like the other one. So if you saw the other one, it didn't variegate as much because it was always in shade. This one gets full sun being blasted through the whole day. And you can see the variegation on it is very pronounced. You can see it looks so cool. In my opinion, the variegation gives it a very unique look. You don't ever see that in dragon fruit nowadays. And if you do, the fruit doesn't really taste too good. So this is one of the first true variegated varieties that tastes amazing. Tastes absolutely amazing. Because of the variegation, the yellow doesn't have any chlorophyll for it to grow, so it stunts the growth in one area. So that's why they curve. The green areas have chlorophyll, so they photosynthesize and they continue to grow. But that's why you guys get a lot of these crazy curvature, twisting, turning, and that's all part of it being variegated. So don't be too concerned if you guys start seeing this happen to your wild berry skittle. It's not dying, it's not getting sun scorched, it's just doing its variegation thing. And even the fruits, you guys look at the fruits, you can see the variegation on the fruits. On these ones, they're very pronounced. So this one is really cool. You can see the whole rainbow on here. It starts off red, orange, yellow, and eventually when the fruit gets ripe, you see like other purple colors as well. That's a good one. Here's another one that's also variegated. The fruit's getting variegated. So it's very, very cool. Soon, wild berry Skittles, this season, for the very first time, this is also only a year and a half, produced me way more fruits for its first year than my other trellis that's been over there for 3 years. I got so many flowers. It was so beautiful because wild berry Skittles flower is so pretty that when I got to see multiple of them blooming, it was just so magical for me. And now we have so many fruits, so I'm very excited about that because wild berry Skittles is honestly a very, very good tasting variety. You guys will not be disappointed in that one. I love it, and all my friends from Hawaii, especially Lopaka, every time he harvests his wild berry Skittles, he'll send me a picture and be like, this is still my favorite variety. It's so good. Wild berry Skittles is so good. We have Asuna 6 here. Again, so many fruits on my Asuna 6. Under the tree where it was getting shade, I never got as many fruits as I did when it's in this area. And they're literally only 20 feet away from each other, but the difference is humongous. You guys, there's literally 3 times more fruit on this side than the ones that I have that are closer to the tree wall. So Asuna 6 wild berry Skittles are doing very well this season. Lots of fruits, so hoping to be able to share some of this with people that haven't tried it yet. Over here, I have Red Laverne. Red Laverne is the variety that I told you guys that I really like. It's one of those varieties where they grow humongous, ginormous fruits without you even having to try. So these can grow up to 2.5 to 3 pounds consistently. They can exceed 1 pound easily, and it's just their genetics. They're one of those varieties that can grow humongous fruits without even having to try. Just like how Sugar Dragon can grow super sweet fruits without having to try, this one grows giant fruits. They like to be on the bigger side, and the flavor of them is actually very, very good. I love the flavor of this one. It's very delicious. Red Laverne is always going to be here for me. I love it. Okay, we're getting closer to being finished. There's about 3 trellis left. This one is Grape Pop. And like I said, Grape Pop here is in between my house and my neighbor's house. So it gets partial sun, but also gets somewhat full sun. But it only ever produces me 2 waves of fruit and not too much fruit. So this is something I want to eventually create a new trellis and move it to full sun so that way I can get more fruits, because Grape Pop is a very good tasting variety. It's like eating a big juicy Concord grape, or even like having grape soda because it's so sweet. So that's Grape Pop. We have a fruit here. So my first wave, I only got 1 fruit, and my second wave, I have about now maybe 6 buds that are going to be flowering. So counting every single Grape Pop and hoping every single one of them lands once I pollinate them. This is Orange Dwarf. Orange Dwarf is one of those varieties I got from Hawaii. It's self-fertile. It does flower, but it flowers at the end of the season. So that's why you guys don't see too much of it. It's a slow grower, so that's why you don't see too much of it over here. And over here I have Lisa. Lisa is one of those that is on the more tarty side. So if you like tarty dragon fruits, this one is for you. It has a very sharp acid to it. I keep it because the fruit isn't my most favorite, but sometimes I eat so many sweet dragon fruits that I want a dramatic change, and Lisa gives me that offering. So if I'm just like, you know what, I want to try a completely different dragon fruit flavor, then I go to Lisa, because once you let them ripe to a point where they snap or crack or burst, they become so sweet that the acid is not even almost there anymore, and they really the flavor of the acid and the sweetness really complexes each other, and it's really good once it gets to that point. So Lisa, I've always told myself I'm gonna get rid of it this season, but still haven't gotten that chance to do it. But yeah, they're very good at producing pollen. So if you need pollen, you can get excess amounts of pollen from them. We're getting more buds now from Lisa, and as you can see, every time it grows, I just tip them to prevent them from growing and just keeping them having more mature small branches. And as you can see, the small 2 to 3 inch branch here, 3 to 4 inch, has 2 buds on it. So you just keep on breaking off the new growth. Eventually, you're gonna force out flower buds. So that's why I tell you guys, tipping is a very important way to maintain and stimulate it to have growth. All right, you guys, that was all of the dragon fruits updates for today. Midsummer, as you can see, there's fruits everywhere. Lots of them are ripening. So at the end of the season, I'll do another update where we're gonna get to harvest all of these fruits. Today, you guys got to see me harvest maybe 4 different varieties, but as the season goes and keeps continuing, there should be more different varieties, even new ones that I showed you guys that are gonna start flowering soon. So I can't wait for the next update and, you know, have more fruits so that way we can do fruit tasting and sharing, and maybe bring some new people on and do fruit tasting with, because I want other people to try them and see their reaction. But we have a pink panther right here. I just want to go ahead and crack this open and just have my very first dragon fruit of the season. This is pink panther. You can eat it this way, like a savage like me, and just peel it like a banana. Or you can take it inside, cut it in half and wedges, and then have them that way. But today I'm just gonna have, like, they're so small that you can just eat them just like this. That is delicious. Juicy, sweet, has nice crystallized sugar sweetness to it, and the complexity of all the berry flavors is definitely there. The only thing it's missing is it just needs to be cold. It is a little warm outside, so the fruit is a little warm, but even though it's this warm, it still tastes amazing. Check that out. Delicious and amazing. You will never go wrong with pink panther or sugar dragon. These two, they're always gonna stay sweet. All right, guys. That was the whole tour for today, and that was the whole season update for our midsummer season. I'll see you guys in the next one once we do some more videos and some more updates. But if you guys enjoyed this video today, please hit that like button. You guys have any questions about any of the varieties that I talked about today, leave in the comments below and I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. And if you guys have not subscribed to this channel yet, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so that way you can keep seeing cool dragon fruits like this. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of Grafting Dragon Fruit. Peace.